Well, Chief, thank you for coming here. I really
Yes, sir.
appreciate it.
No
I tell you,
problem.
it's been outstanding, and it feels like you're the new guy. But shoot, you've been here now for what, a
Yeah,
year?
25. I've been in this position for a year, but I've been with the city for
Oh
25
well,
years.
I mean, I knew that, but I mean, newbie as the chief, and
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
almost the reluctant chief. But
Yes, sir.
anyway,
Yes, sir.
you're doing a great job,
Thank
and
you. I
thank you
appreciate it.
for all
Thank
you're
you.
doing. And
Yes, sir.
we were talking a little bit earlier before we really started filming that the fire department's really just different in terms of its culture, right? I mean, you guys are living with each other.
Living with each other, absolutely.
And,
Yes.
and you're rotating through, and outside looking in, that's all I've got. I get a chance to go to your promotional ceremonies.
Yes,
I
yes,
get a
sir.
chance to
Yes, sir.
to look and touch. But I mean, it's a fraternity. It's a
Yes, sir.
it's a culture that's
It's a
just
culture.
different.
That's totally different. Like I said, there are not many professions out there where, other than maybe the military, where you are with somebody 24 hours a day and you
Right.
actually live and eat together. You just like being at home. So again, you have to build those bonds, those relationships. And at the end of the day, when it's time to go into battle to those fires or any kind of mercy call, I mean, you have to have a good chemistry. You know what I mean? Have a good relationship. So
Yeah. Well, I'm hearing in some of those promotional ceremonies, having to talk to the old guys for the interview, right?
Yes.
I mean, you guys with 20, 30 years, scared of whoever, whatever, not really
Yes.
scared of them, but having to go through the interview and so competitive.
Yes, very competitive.
And I'm like, well, wow. Well, first of all, I understand why the selectivity, right? Because if it doesn't fit culturally, personally,
absolutely,
it's not going to fit.
Absolutely.
So how do you maintain that challenge as chief? You want to maintain that culture of go get them. You got to maintain that culture and heritage of brotherhood.
Yes.
We'll call it brotherhood. I know we have females too.
Correct.
But how do you keep all that together and balanced? I mean, it's hard enough running an organization with the personalities clashing. How do you do that when you're living together?
So again, like I said before, the best way to do that is you find a common bond,
right?
Just to get to know each other. You'd be surprised. We have employees from all different walks of life,
right? And
just spending time together, you realize how much you actually have in common, and you learn so much about different people as you spend more time with them. So that's our way. People come to the fire service on purpose because they want to help others.
Right.
So that's one shared common bond that you have automatically. So
part of the draw.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a definitely challenging career, no doubt about that. It challenges you mentally.
Right.
It challenges you physically as well. And it challenges you academically as well too, because the world is always changing.
That's right.
And I know when I first started the fire service, at the time, 25 years ago, I never would have thought anything about electric cars. And now, so as
they were called golf carts 25 years ago.
Absolutely, that is correct. So now you have electric cars. So you're always learning as the world changes. So you have to adapt. So
why did you become a fireman? What was the draw for you?
That's a good question. So my upbringing was very structured. My mom, she was a single mom at the time, but she married later on in my adolescent years, and I have a brother. So she was a single mom at the time, very structured. She come from a big family as well, and so she knew how two boys are kind of.
That's right. You got to manage them.
You got to manage them, absolutely. So when I went to the fire service, number one was the structure.
Right.
That's how I was raised.
Okay.
So that worked out perfect.
That was easy. In fact, that was comforting, I guess.
It was definitely comforting. So I fit right in there. Also, the other thing is when I went to the fire service as well, it give you the opportunity and ability to grow.
Yeah.
I came in as a firefighter.
Right.
And I've been extremely blessed, been around some excellent people to taught me some things, and fortunate enough I made to the rank of fire chief. So,
I know we got to talk about that. You can't just dance over that. I mean, that's a big deal story too, and something I'm proud of being part of the city of Rocky Mountain is that we can have somebody come in as a fireman.
Yes, sir.
And become chief.
Yes, sir.
Because they're willing to apply themselves, work.
Yes.
Make it happen. There's always a certain amount of luck and some of that right?
Correct.
But right timing, I should say, not really luck, right timing.
Yes, sir.
Well, tell us about that. I mean, that's just remarkable. And I hope you tell that story a lot to folks because it would be inspirational.
Yes. So again, I encourage everybody, number one, I always had a career goals.
Right.
When I first started. When I first started the fire service, and I said, this is want to be my only job here. And when I started, I made my mind up. I want to retire from here.
Right. Okay.
And the other thing is I want to take every advantage of every opportunity I ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, I've been around some excellent people that taught me a lot of things that invested in me.
Right.
Moving up the ranks requires a lot of sacrifice. I have a good support system at home with my family.
Right.
And there were some days, of course, with spending 24 hours away from home.
Yeah.
And then I have to get the training. You have to get all the classes, all the education on top of that to progress through the ranks. And the main thing is having the will and the determination and wanting to take on the responsibility of moving through the ranks.
Sure.
Because as the higher you go up, you get more responsibility, and you still have to maintain your current knowledge in those areas as well too. So,
right.
I tell all of my staff, I'm definitely a firefighter at heart. No doubt about that. I'm a firefighter at heart, but I just happen to have a different role and responsibility right now. So,
well, but I think that speaks to the fire department, your own story, and the culture that has been built and over, I guess, the years. To be able to maintain the international accreditation that you have in your fire department, and you just renewed that.
Just renewed it.
Was that the 5th time?
5th time.
And the certification is good for, is it 5 years? I'm working off memory. Okay.
Yes, sir. 5 years. We are good all the way to 2027. And we're.
Well, maybe you're the good luck talisman. You've been here for 25 years. We've been accredited for 25 years. We'll give you all credit for that.
No, that's not all my credit. Fortunately enough, we had some good leadership in the past.
Right.
We were first accredited back in 2003.
Okay.
And so that administration saw the vision and importance of being accredited. And the entire accreditation model is all about continuous improvement.
Right.
And all about growth and being better. So that administration did an excellent job. At the time they started it back, if I'm not mistaken, Chief J.E. Hawkins was the chief at the time.
Sure.
And
went to high school with his daughter.
Yes, yes. Excellent man. Saw him this morning. So, and also we got accredited through Chief Kenneth Mullen.
Okay.
At the time back in 2003.
Right.
So, but yes, they have instilled that culture in us to be always improving, always get better. You mentioned something about the culture of our organization. So we have core values.
Right.
And I think our core values determines our culture and our character of our organization. Mm-hmm. And those core values are, one is teamwork. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned earlier, you can tell when the firemen's all together and crews together.
I sure can.
It was all about teamwork.
Yeah.
And one of our other core values is honesty.
Mm-hmm.
We take pride on that because the biggest thing is, we have to be an honest person. We're going in people's homes and their businesses, and they expect the reputation and the character of a firefighter to be honest, because you're catching them at the lowest time. Integrity, we're really big on integrity. Mm-hmm. We always want to do the right thing no matter what, when somebody's looking or not. Right. It doesn't matter. Right. We have respect for others. Always have respect for others and all of our citizens here in the community. And the main thing is dedication. Right. That's what drives us.
Well, that speaks to the self-sacrifice, right? In terms of promotion, the culture of all of that to maintain that accreditation.
Yes, sir.
And so really what I'm hearing you say is just throughout. And that's just sort of a non-starter. If you don't have that.
That's right.
We don't want you in the Rocky Mountain Fire Department.
And that's what we look for when we're doing our hiring. We look for those 5 things: integrity, respect, honesty, dedication, and teamwork. We always look for those things whenever we're hiring somebody. So,
well, look, I mean, you mentioned it. You're living together for such a long period of time.
Sir.
So if you don't have those pieces, I don't even want to live with you. I mean, I don't want to spend that much time with you.
That's correct.
If I feel like I got to watch my back, or you taking stuff from me, or you lied to me,
sir.
I mean,
that is correct.
We don't have time for that.
That is correct.
So, tell us a little bit about life in the fire. Well, let's talk more about accreditation, because I don't think folks really understand how big of a deal that is. And I'll say it this way: I had an opportunity to have a house up in Banner Elk, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. It's got a lovely little volunteer fire department, and it's got the worst rating of a fire agency in I don't know, level 5. I can't remember, but it's at the highest or lowest in the worst way. And not a rag on those guys at all. They're volunteer. I appreciate the fact they're doing it. They're not paid professional staff. I mean, they are they're giving us their all. So 2 houses I have are about the same size. That one's now since gone. But I was paying 4 times the insurance rate for fire for that house, that property, relative to what I have in Rocky Mountain.
Correct.
Well, that's a tax. People don't really understand that. So, and all of us, whether we are renting a house or we are, we're own the house, we're paying for fire insurance.
Yes, sir.
It's either called rent or it's called insurance, but it's being paid for. Well, that's a tax. I mean, so I think I can make a case that you've actually returned to the city of Rocky Mountain a reduction in our effective tax rate, or our cost of just living.
Correct.
in a community. And so that's a big, big, big deal that I don't think everybody really fully understands until you dissect it a little bit. So what does that mean for me? I mean, that's great that the fire department do all that, but the impact of that is significant. And we are the highest and best rating.
That is correct. So just to give you some data.
Okay.
So in reference to accreditation, there are roughly in the United States, there are almost 30,000 fire departments in the United States.
30,000.
30,000.
Wow.
We are one of 319 departments that are accredited across the country. So
it's less than 1%.
That is correct. Less than 1%.
It is a fraction of 1%.
That is correct. So in reference to the ISO 1, which stands for Insurance Service Office, there are currently right now in the state of North Carolina, 1,086 departments in the state of North Carolina.
Wow.
There are only 13 in the state of North Carolina with ISO 1, and Rocky Mount is one of them.
Really? What are the others that we might know of? I mean,
so Charlotte is one.
Okay.
Wilson is one.
Okay.
Wilmington is one.
Okay.
And Nashville is one.
So I mean, I just want to kind of get an idea of some of the communities, but one of 13.
One of 13 with a class 1
roughly
ISO.
roughly 1,400 fire departments.
Yes.
That includes volunteer and otherwise, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Wow.
So that definitely has an effect on your insurance rating or your insurance.
Yeah, it does.
Yes. So in other words, that's pretty much saying that, the insurance companies trust us enough that we're going to provide a quality service to extinguish fire, any type of emergency in your area where you stay at. And they feel confident to lower your insurance rate because of the quality of service that we provide.
Right. I mean, not saying you're not going to make a mistake because we all do it, always have it. We're all people.
Correct.
But on top of that, I mean, you even do like fast water rescue. Tell us about some of those programs because that's impressive stuff too.
So we do have programs. We have teams. We have Super Water Rescue team. They're a class 1 team.
Okay.
And they're actually our state resource. And this kind of stems back from I'm sure you was here for Hurricane Floyd.
Yep, I sure was.
And at the time, we actually had a few gentlemen that was trained, for Super Water Rescue, and that one event kind of gave Chief Mullen at the time, he was the fire chief, an eye opener. With the Tar River actually running through the city.
Yeah.
And you had over 7 square miles, which is about 25% of the city underwater in 1999. So we had to do something.
And you don't really think of this being the whitewater rapid place or having to deal with that kind of emergency.
But you'd be surprised at some of the water events that we actually respond to.
Well, tell us a couple of them. I mean, just about Floyd, for instance. I remember having a little John boat. I was flying around where Riverside Apartments used to be. You couldn't get out of my neighborhood. We were stuck. But
correct. So I guess during the during the Floyd, the river pretty much was over. Was always over.
Yeah.
You had neighborhoods that were flooded. Of course, during that time, a lot of those neighborhoods now pretty much bought out.
Right.
But like the West Haven area, right there by the river.
Yep.
I can remember going to rooftops and getting victims off the rooftop doing Floyd.
We picked up a couple neighbors, believe it or not.
Absolutely. So, but that's another asset, another rescue technique that our department has. We also do hazmat. We got a hazmat advisory group.
Okay.
Of course, I-95 runs through the city of Rocky Mount and 64. So you can
don't forget the railroad.
And the railroad, definitely railroad. So you'd be surprised how many hazardous material actually run through the city. I think we average anywhere from about 7 trains a day actually coming through the city.
7 a day?
7
I knew it was a big number.
It's a big number.
Just an aside, I get a lot of complaints, as I'm sure everybody does, about the railroad. And what folks don't realize is the railroad has almost... they got almost like fiefdom rights. I mean, they're their own little world. Taxation, they have their own police department, their own Medicare.
They do.
And I said, well, look, can you tell me when the trains are going to come and stop? I said, well, Mr. Mayor, we'd love to do that, but we consider that to be part of national security. We can't really publish the train schedules quite like that because of the hazardous material that we're carrying and all that kind of stuff. And
absolutely.
So that was something I just never really considered, to be honest with you.
Yes, sir. We also have a technical rescue team as well.
Okay.
Yep. And they do anything related to confined space or any type of high angle rescue as well too. So they actually do that. So that all started, and probably what I'm probably most proud of recently is the implementation of technology. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I said it is because we have a drone team. Now we just implemented our drone team, and just recently we had a fire at Rocky Mountain Cycle. I'm sure you was aware of that as well too. And we actually used that drone to look over those that 9-acre spot
Right.
where there was fires at, and it allowed us to pinpoint exactly where that 9-acre, a lot of that fire was actually at. So
Well, I hadn't really considered that, but it
Yes.
makes a lot of sense in
Yes.
terms of being able to be able to set up and
Yes.
address the fire.
it gives us a different aspect from above
right.
of what we can see when it comes to hazards or anything. Oh, and we also use them on events as well too. Matter of fact, we got an event coming up soon Juneteenth.
Yep.
So we'll definitely.
So how about starting Friday?
Yeah, Friday. You will definitely have the fire department presence down there as well, and I'm pretty sure we will be flying our drones as well too. So
that's awesome.
Sure is.
So you talk about teams being a state resource, and I'm
Yes.
sure it's a regional resource. Are there others in the area? How does that work? I mean, we can't be everything to everybody, but at the same time,
well, you made a great point. So there's an RRT team which handles hazmat. There are 7 across the state.
okay,
The closest one is in Williamston, close to us, but we have members of our department that are part of that team.
okay,
And then the next closest team is actually in Wilmington. So
Okay.
they tried to provide a state with at least maybe an hour at the most response if you're dealing in anything with hazmat related. So again, like I said before,
Yeah.
we have I-95, the railroad, as well as
Right.
64. So a lot of hazardous materials actually run through the city. So I mean, the potential there is extremely great.
what was that train derailment in somewhere in Ohio? I think
Yes.
maybe a year ago,
Yes, sir.
something like that. I sat there and thought, oh my word,
Yes.
that could have been us.
Could have been us. And the thing about our downtown is, again, like I said before, it runs downtown, so it will have a very, very adverse impact on our downtown, which we're definitely trying to rebuild now. So
Which is where the fire department is,
Yes,
City
yes, sir.
Hall,
City Hall, yes,
office
sir.
here,
Absolutely, yes. So
plus,
yeah,
plus, right?
absolutely.
Edgecombe Community College, and
Correct. But we do have a good relationship with CXX.
Right.
Of course, they have a train yard here as well too. And what they have done for us is, anytime they're doing any type of, any type of improvements to the rails, they let us know to give us a call.
Okay.
We have toured their facility, both the intermodal as well
Yeah.
as their train yard and the southern part of Rocky Mountain as well too. So we definitely have a good relationship with them as well. So.
Well, I went to the intermodal. I got to tell you, I was a little disappointed in it. I don't know what I was expecting, but basically,
it's very technical. Yes,
it's an office. It looks like some guys with video games. It's kind of
remote control. Yes, sir.
So I'm like,
Yes.
okay.
yes.
So what else is going on? That is absolutely fabulous, and the impact that's having on our community is tremendous. And thank you for that. And I will say that the esprit de corps that seems to be evident with the fire department, again, outside looking in, strong. That's a characteristic of leadership throughout
Yes,
the
sir.
organization, and something I know you've got to be proud of,
Yes,
because
sir, absolutely.
I certainly am.
I'm just fortunate. I have an excellent staff.
Sure, no, I get it.
I have an excellent staff. There's no great leader without excellent staff. I can promise you that.
Right.
And every day I come to work, I can actually see in our staff eyes they want to be there.
Right.
Because they continue to come.
That's right.
So yes. So I have excellent staff. I cannot be more blessed than what I got now with excellent staff. So, and we all share the same goals, and our goal is to protect this city as much as we possibly can.
Well, pulling the cart in the right direction gets you a long way.
Yes, sir.
Long
Yes,
way.
sir. Yes, sir.
So what else is going on with the fire department? What did I forget to ask? I mean, I know some of the things I wanted people to hear about fire department. That was
So
important.
we are really, really big on public education.
Okay.
You mentioned some about fires. We have quite a few of them, but some of our biggest fires, or I can say biggest fires, some of the most fires that we have comes from cooking fires.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and lots of times someone leaves their kitchen unattended.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Frying some bacon, the grease catches
yes,
on.
sir. So what we try to do is one of the main things is we do what we call it as a program called smoke detector or smoke alarm canvassing,
Right.
where we go in those neighborhoods and we make sure that those residents have smoke detectors.
Right.
Every opportunity that we can get, we try to do public education, especially in the schools. It starts at a small age with the children and the kids. So we teach them fire safety tips. And most of the time, when you teach the kids, they turn around and they tell their parents what they learned. And so we actually get that twofold.
Right.
So that's one of the biggest things that we're actually proud about. And probably the main things that I'm definitely intentional on is, number one, is getting it out in the community.
Right.
A lot of people, I know growing up, I grew up in this city of Rocky Mount.
Mhm.
And I probably couldn't remember as remember where the fire station was at. I'll be honest, until I start applying for the job.
Is that right?
You
Really?
would never believe that. Yes.
I think it was a
Yes,
field
yes.
trip for me in first grade. I
Yes.
still remember the pole and
Now-
sliding. I
now-
just thought that was
right.
cool,
Now,
right?
The fire trucks came out to the school, and I
Oh,
remember
yeah,
Sparky.
yeah.
As
Yeah,
far as
yeah.
the location
Yeah.
where the fire station was at, I grew up about 6 blocks from the fire station, and I just cannot remember.
Just
it.
never registered as being that, right?
Never registered. Yes. But that's one thing I'm intentional about is make sure we get out in the community. And
Right.
let the community know what we're doing.
Right.
And let them know that we can be a help to them. So that's probably the main thing.
Okay. So, we have a lot of conversation here about fire station number 2.
Yes, sir.
Probably more than we ever expected, or who
Yes,
would have
sir.
thought this, right? I mean,
Yes,
and
sir.
this is a project we've been talking about,
Yes, sir.
what, 3 years?
4
Maybe
years
four?
now.
4?
Yes, sir.
Because we've had to, just to kind of catch people up who don't know or not been following on it. So fire station number 2 is located at Raleigh Road or Raleigh Street and Gray Street.
That's correct.
Corner of. We've acquired some more land. We want to expand that fire station. We and build some more capacity.
Mhm.
And the station was built 78,
76.
76.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so it's about
48 years old.
Yeah, I remember 1976, and
Yes,
then you
sir.
say 48. That just is almost offensive, but I get.
Yes, sir. But yeah, the station is currently 48 years old.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, and this is what I try to explain to everyone is
Right.
that you got to imagine it's one of the only facilities that the city owns where somebody's there 24 hours a day, 365 days out of the year.
Oh, I get it.
So
I
it
get
gets a lot of wear and tear.
Sure.
Just for example, that's one of our busiest stations.
Is it really by volume?
Yes, sir, by volume. Since 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, we're in 2024 now. That station has ran over 23,000 calls. So that's average of pretty much about 2,300 calls a year, averaging about 7 calls a day.
Wow. Well, and then we don't even talk about that. I mean, being the part of first responders universe.
Correct.
I mean, every call that goes in, your guys are responding as fast as they possibly can.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And by the way, you responded to my mother not more than 8 months ago. Y'all did a fabulous
Thank you.
job,
Thank you. We appreciate it.
and I was just
I'm glad we
really
can help.
well. I was just proud that we responded so well.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
we as a
Yes, sir.
group, right? But so fire station number 2, we've been talking about it for 4 years.
Mhm.
What happened was, and somebody told me that's how always knows a lie. What happened was, but I'm kidding. So what occurred was we had a project. We were going to go before the LGC. We ended up with COVID. There was
Correct.
an escalation in both interest rates, labor cost, and commodity costing,
Correct.
which created a huge escalation in the estimates. I think it started as, and I'm working off memory, $7-8 million
Correct.
project. Now it's somewhere neighboring 12 to $14 million.
11.
11.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give it time.
Yes, sir. Yeah, rising construction materials is rising.
That's right, 11. So we had to go before the LGC with the refresh of the new material. There's been a
Correct.
gap. It's been a sort of a slow project. And, just a lot of conversation about what I think is kind of silly, quite frankly. I mean, it's whether or not this project was going to be heard by the LGC, and it needs to be. It is going to be heard on
Correct.
July 9th, I believe,
That's
at
correct.
1:30 in the afternoon. It's
That's
scheduled.
correct.
So there's been a lot of misinformation. No, it's all been true. Everything's been said has been true. However, the ordering of it, the prioritization of it, and the meaning of it, I think, has been distorted a little bit. So anyway, speak to that a little bit, because now we have a fire station that while this is going on, we're still fighting fires, taking those 7 calls a day from where? And
From headquarters.
Okay.
Yes. So, yes, there was, Mr. Mayor, there was a miscommunication.
yeah,
I think the North Carolina Treasurer, he had mentioned that the station was just being renovated, which is
Okay.
not true.
that's right.
And that,
No, we're waiting to get on the
Right.
to be able to
Correct.
renovate. Yeah,
correct. And there was some miscommunication as well too, saying that the station was up and operating, which is that is not true.
Right.
Um,
no, that's been closed for.
since March 1st.
I was going to say a couple
Yes.
months now. I was
Yes.
thinking 6, but we're right there at it.
Yeah, that is correct. So, City Manager's office, they submitted the application
Right.
to the
That's
LGC
right.
in February, and we was under the impression that once the application was submitted, it was okay to go ahead and then move out,
Sure.
and we was planning demo on March the 1st,
Should have been a perfunctory decision, to be honest
Yes.
with you. But anyway,
pretty much. So, never had heard anything back from LGC,
right.
and of course, we asking questions, and I guess something was posted on the internet. I'm not quite sure. There was a news break.
Yeah.
And that's where we got aware of that, hey, they would like to talk to Rocky Mount. So
Right.
the intent of me going, or
Yeah.
me and my staff going to the LGC was to get the facts straight. Number one
Right.
was the station is actually not operating at the time.
That's right.
And it's not a renovation. It was a total rebuild.
Right.
And so there were some miscommunication about that we were putting the citizens' lives in jeopardy when it comes to public safety, and that's not true as well too.
Right.
We still respond to those areas. We would just like for a fire station to be in that area for that community.
That's right.
And that's the only thing. So, and this, I think there was a miscommunication there from the treasurer. I'm not sure where he got his information from, but at the time, we just want to make sure.
I don't either. In fact, I've got a meeting scheduled with him tomorrow to make sure that we've at least communicated those facts as well as some other items. But we were going to be without that location. You had this alternate plan in anyway.
Sir. Absolutely.
Because there's going to be a tear down and a rebuild.
And it takes actually 1 year to build.
Right.
Now, trust me, the treasurer, he was definitely supportive of us.
Sure.
I just wanted to make sure that he had the correct information, and that was the only thing.
Well, and that's what I want to be clear about too, because when you read the papers, you hear comments, and it creates all kinds of opportunity for speculation.
Absolutely.
The truth is, we don't know the rest of the story yet.
Correct. That is correct.
We've not heard from the LGC as to whether or not we can borrow the money.
Absolutely.
And if anybody's listening, we have the money to actually pay for it. If we so choose to do so, use our cash that way, although it'd be better if we borrowed money. Mm-hmm. So I just want to make that point clear for everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the LGC, they were definitely supportive of us. They're just waiting for us to get on the agenda, and it has been done now. And I'm sure everything goes smooth from here. So I'm pretty sure that I feel confident it will.
Well, and if not, we will muddle through it and get through it the best we can. But I know this, that we're in a solid position and that we're committed to making the project happen. And what a great fire department you run.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, look, thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all you're doing. And because it's important to the city, I'm appreciative, and I know I'm one of 55,000 other people.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Yes, sir.